On 16th January 2021, while launching India's COVID vaccination program, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, "These vaccines will give us a defining victory in the war against COVID." But today, over 4 months later, 3 lakh Indians are dead, the last 1 lakh dead in just 26 days. And during this same time, India's vaccine program didn't grow, it collapsed. From a high of 43 lakh doses on 5th April to less than 7 lakh doses on the 9th of May. So where is the victory in the war on COVID? 4,000 deaths daily. Does that show we have won or in fact lost badly? Why is our government now on the list of the worst managers of coronavirus? And those vaccines that were to protect us, save our lives, where are those vaccines?
Our COVID ground reports cost us about 7.5 lakh every month. You can help our reporting from the ground. Go to thequint.com, click support the Quint tab, choose a plan and pay.
ये जो इंडिया है ना, अब यहाँ जो कहा जाता है और किया जाता है, उसमें बहुत अंतर आ गया है. There's now a huge gap between what we say and what we do. And that has cost us thousands and thousands of lives. We have all lost friends, family members, or colleagues. And yet, this habit of more talk and little action is not going away, especially in the critical area of vaccine procurement, where already so many mistakes have been made. So let's return to Modi, थोड़ी सी chronology समझने के लिए. On 16th January, the PM said India's 2 Made in India vaccines will give us victory against COVID. On 28th January, at the World Economic Forum's online summit, Modi actually declared his victory over COVID, adding that India had defied predictions by several experts that it would struggle against COVID. And on 16th February, the PM went further, claiming that India's fight against COVID was now inspiring the world. From promise of victory to victory declared to world inspiration, all inside a month. A problem ye hui ki we started believing our own big words. So much so that on 3rd February, we refused to give the Pfizer vaccine approval for emergency use in India. A few days later, Pfizer withdrew its application. On 3rd February, Pfizer was knocking on our door. Hamari vaccine le lo, and we said no. We said no without doing simple basic maths. And what was this maths? That Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech, the makers of Covishield and Covaxin, just did not have the capacity to produce enough vaccine for all of India to be vaccinated fast enough. And so, as we got into April 2021, the Indian government's COVID success story began to fall apart. Each day, new world records in the number of new cases, from 1 lakh daily to 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, and way past 4 lakh cases a day. And the deaths, they mounted too, going past 1,000 a day to 2,000, 3,000, and 4,000 a day. And the virus wasn't doing all the killing in this second surge. It was shortages of ICU beds, of oxygen, of doctors and nurses, of critical medicines. And equally huge was the shortage of vaccines. State after state running out of vaccines, begging the central government for vaccines who had almost nothing to provide. Vaccination centers putting up notices, vaccines out of stock, vaccination for 18 to 44 age group suspended. As May ends, the pace of vaccination is less than half of what it was in early April. When the Indian government should be ramping up its vaccination drive, it is actually slowing down. Lakhs who could have, who should have been vaccinated were not. And this has cost the lives of thousands of Indians who would have fought COVID better if only they had been vaccinated. Now, before I go on, here's a request. To help us do our ground reports, our fact checks, our investigations, we at the Quint are trying to raise 7.5 lakh rupees in the next 4 weeks. Do consider becoming a Quint member and help us bear the costs of our frontline coverage. You can click on the link given here to support us. Okay, now let's get back to the vaccine key chronology. After shutting our doors to Pfizer in February, On April 13th, as the government finally saw the maths, saw that India would fall far short of its vaccine needs, the government did a U-turn, saying that vaccines like Pfizer and Moderna that have been cleared by the US, by EU, UK, Japan, etc. were now welcome in India. But do you know, 7 weeks later, despite this big welcome sign, global firms like Pfizer and Moderna are yet to sign a deal to supply vaccines to India. And also, during these 7 weeks, did you see the pointless drama that took place between the central and state governments over vaccines? In late April, we heard the center was informally telling state governments to look for vaccines abroad on their own. Float your own global tenders, solve your vaccine shortage on your own. Desperate for vaccines, several states, UP, Maharashtra, Punjab, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Karnataka, they did that. Floated global tenders, only to discover that big pharma companies will only sell to a country's central government or tie up with a private Indian company. So, why were so many weeks wasted in states floating global tenders? Because companies like Pfizer and Moderna no longer have vaccines to sell to India. All their vaccines, hundreds of millions of doses, were pre-booked back in 2020 by the US, by the European Union, by Japan, Korea, Canada, UK, while the Indian government booked none, zero. So the central government knew that floating global tenders would be embarrassing as there would be no takers. So let the state governments embarrass themselves. And so more precious weeks went by which should have been used to book vaccines for whenever we can get them and from whomever we can get them from. Already, Moderna says it has no surplus vaccines to sell to us in 2021. Pfizer says it could supply 5 crore vaccine doses between July and October. As of late May, in 4.5 months, India has had 20 crore vaccinations. But to double vaccinate our entire population, we need a massive 280 crore vaccine doses. Yes, it's a huge country, so it's a huge ask. But that was always known to us all. Clearly, ये जो इंडिया है ना, यहाँ we have made our task harder by failing to plan, by failing to do simple maths, by believing in our own inflated boasts about our vaccine readiness, by needlessly pitting state against state and the states against the center. And all of this has not just lost us time, it has also cost us thousands of precious Indian lives.